Hey, what's up guys? So Viofo has recently released both the A229 Ultra and the A329S. These are both high-end flagship 4K dash cams, and between the two, the A329S is going to be the higher end option. And if we take a look at the price difference, starting off here first with the 2-channel version for front and rear recording, it's going to be an extra $60 to go for the A329S, or if we add the interior cam to give us a 3-channel configuration, it's an extra $100 difference to step up to the A329S. And so the natural questions then are, well, what are the differences here between the two different models? And then based on which features and improvements are important to you, well, is it worth spending the extra here for the A329S, or should you save some cash and opt for the A229 Ultra instead? Now starting off here first with the front cameras, they both have the same image sensor, the popular Sony Starvis 2 IMX678. And with its 4K resolution, both dashcams are going to offer really nice video quality. That said, if you want to start adding some additional channels to it, the bitrate or the video quality of the A229 Ultra will actually drop if you add a second or third channel. On the other hand, with the A329S, thanks to its faster processor, it's actually going to maintain full video quality and max bitrate regardless of how many channels you add. Furthermore, the bitrate of the A329S, even in a full 3-channel configuration, is actually higher than the bitrate of the A229 Ultra running with just 1 channel. That said, for the next firmware update for the Ultra, it looks like we're going to be getting the full bitrate on the front camera in a 2-channel configuration, just like if we're running it in a single-channel configuration. Though it doesn't look like that's also going to apply for a 3-channel setup. And so for that reason, you're going to see better video quality with the A329S, especially when moving and when you're running additional camera angles compared to the A229 Ultra. Furthermore, the front cam on the A329S also supports 60 FPS when run in 1-channel or 2-channel configurations. The A229 Ultra, on the other hand, is going to be recording at 30 FPS regardless of how many channels you're running. Next, taking a look at the rear cam, this is actually going to be the one key advantage here for the A229 Ultra because of the fact that its rear cam has a 4K Sony Starvis 2 sensor instead of a 2K Starvis 2 sensor like the A329S. And so for that reason, with the higher resolution, it's going to do a better job of capturing details such as faces and license plates back behind you. Now personally, I find the higher resolution to be more important on the front cam than on the rear, but you are going to nevertheless see better video quality from the rear cam with the A229 Ultra thanks to its higher resolution image sensor. Second, the A229 Ultra uses a thicker USB cable to connect the front and rear cams, while the A329S uses a thinner coax cable, which is going to be easier to route and install in the car. The benefit of the USB cable is the fact that if you want to upgrade from something like the A229 Plus or Pro, then, well, you can actually reuse the existing front to rear cable that you've got installed in your car without having to run all new wiring for the front to rear cam the way you would have to do and the way that I've had to do to upgrade to the A329S. Next, taking a look at the interior cabin cams, they both now have these ultra-wide lenses to do a much better job of recording both inside the car as well as off to the sides. That said, the A329S offers a higher res 2K image sensor compared to the A229 Ultra, which uses a lower res 1080p sensor. Additionally, that A229 Ultra uses analog communication between the interior cam and the front cam, while the A329S uses digital communication instead, which is going to be better. And so for these reasons, if you compare the two, I prefer the look of the image from the A329S's 2K image sensor. Plus, with the higher resolution, it's going to do a better job of recording both inside the car, as well as maybe people's faces or other vehicles outside the car as well. And then if you want to record an even wider field of view, the A329S also allows you to run the interior cam in a fisheye mode to record even more of what's going on off to the sides. With the A229 Ultra, you only have the option for the ultra-wide view. There is no fisheye view. That said, on my A329S, I prefer running with the ultra-wide view because it gives me a more natural looking image and I still get plenty of coverage off to the sides. However, depending on your vehicle, you might prefer running it in the fisheye mode, and so for that reason, the A329S's cam is going to give you some additional coverage and flexibility. Furthermore, the HDR option is going to be optional to toggle on and off on the A329S, while on the A229 Ultra, it's always going to be left on and you don't have the ability to turn it on and off. That said, similar to the fisheye mode, I actually prefer having the HDR option on all the time, and so in practice, this doesn't wind up being a huge difference between the two for me. And then coming back to some of the cabling differences, on the A229 Ultra, it's going to have a USB cable that sticks off to the side of the camera, while the A329S uses a smaller and thinner L-shaped connector, which is going to give you a more compact and clean looking install. And speaking of add-on cams, we've also got more flexibility with the A329X line of dash cams. For example, they offer the A329T, which replaces that interior cabin cam with a front-facing telephoto to help do a better job of capturing details up ahead, especially license plates. Plus, Viofo has recently added support for the A329TC, which is going to give you not only the front-facing camera, but also a front-facing telephoto and an interior cabin cam, because it's been such a highly requested feature to get both the telephoto and the ultra-wide cabin cam. With the A229 Ultra, there is no option for a telephoto at all, which is also kind of a difference for the A229 Plus or Pro, where you do have an option for a front-facing telephoto if you want. So it's just going to be the A229 Ultra that does not offer an optional front-facing telephoto. Next, when it comes to Wi-Fi transfer speeds between the Dashcam and the app, the A329S offers Wi-Fi 6, which is going to give you even faster transfer speeds when you're copying all the video files from the Dashcam over to your phone. Additionally, thanks to the more advanced chipset inside the A329S, it's also going to offer some additional features that are not available on the A229 Ultra. For example, the A329S adds some additional parking recording modes, such as the low-power, long-term parking recording option, so that instead of recording for less than a day, the Dashcam can record for over a week when parked. Similarly, it also adds a new hybrid parking recording mode that will initially record in one of the traditional parking recording modes that both dashcams offer, and then after a certain point, it'll switch on over to the low power parking recording mode to give you extended parking record times. Second, the A329S also offers the multiplexing feature that's going to allow you to combine the different camera angles into one single video file to make it easier to view everything going on in and around your car all at the same time, or to share those video clips with others. And then third, both dashcams support micro SD cards up to 512 gigs, but if you'd like even more storage capacity, the A329S also supports external SSDs as large as 4 terabytes, allowing you to save much more video footage from the dashcam before it has to start overwriting the oldest footage. And then lastly, the A229 Ultra's other advantage besides the higher res rear cam is going to be its lower price. For example, as mentioned in the beginning of the video, if we compare the 2-channel front and rear versions, it's going to be a $60 price jump to go from the A229 Ultra to the A329S. Similarly, if we compare the 3-channel configurations that add that interior cam, well, it's going to be an extra $100 to go from the 229 Ultra to the 329S. Now, personally, I prefer the A329S for a number of key reasons. Number one, I really find the low-power parking recording modes to be really useful in practice, especially if I've got the car parked at the airport for like a week or so. I love being able to have the dashcam actually recording the whole time. I also like the higher bitrate from the front camera, which is going to be most noticeable when you're running it in a 3-channel configuration, which is how I run mine. I like the higher res interior cam as well, though realistically it's not going to be a massive difference. Similarly, even though the A229 Ultra does offer a higher res rear camera, it's also not going to be a huge difference for most people most of the time, and so even though that is going to be maybe the one advantage for the Ultra over the A329S, I'm okay sacrificing that to get all of the other features. I also prefer the thinner cables on the A329S, which are going to be easier to route and install, as well as the 90-degree connectors, which are going to make the install itself more clean. And I really like the fact that the A329X lineup offers an optional front-facing telephoto, which is very useful in practice to help you capture license plates if that is a priority for you. Now, this is just my preferences though, and as far as which features and benefits are important to you, well, that's obviously going to vary between each individual person. If you don't need the low power long-term parking recording, you can definitely consider saving the extra $60 and go for the A229 Ultra, especially considering the fact that you're actually going to get a better and higher res rear cam and at a lower price point too. That said, if you want the best overall option possible, that's where you're going to be looking at the 3-channel A329S with the front, rear, and interior cabin cam. And so personally, I'm going to be sticking with the A329S and not switching over to the A229 Ultra. And if you'd like to pick up any one of these dash cams, I'll put links to all of them down in the video description below. And I would also love to hear your thoughts as far as which features are important to you and which dash cam you'd like to run in your car. So definitely let me know down in the comment area below. And if you enjoy different dashcam comparisons here like this, well, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified as new videos like this here go live. And with that said, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're all doing great, and I'll see you in the next one.